This video is going to make you a lot of money if you pay attention and apply what I'm about to teach you, because this video is all about the activity trap. What is it? How can you tell if you're in it? And how do you get out of it? Coming up next. Now, this is going to be a game-changing video if you pay close attention and you apply what I'm about to tell you. If you're one of those salespeople, or if you're a sales leader leading salespeople, you're probably going to recognize the activity trap when you hear about it. You have to understand that every salesperson has two primary assets. One of those assets is their time, and the other is the goodwill of their customer. This video is going to focus on how to get the most from your time by avoiding one of the biggest traps in the game, the activity trap. What we're going to talk about here is how to get a greater return on the time that you have. We all have the same amount of time. Time is finite for every one of us. As a sales rep, you're responsible for providing the greatest return on investment of your time as you can. That's how you're measured. You have sales goals, you have quotas. What I'm going to show you today is how to leverage your time in new and powerful ways. So let's talk about what is the activity trap. Well, it's all about equating busyness with progress. And as I describe what the activity trap is, I think you're going to be nodding your head and you're going to see a good bit of yourself in this. Equating busyness with progress is a common trap for most salespeople because it's a job that requires you to be busy. It's impossible to do a good job as a salesperson and not be busy. That's why it's called a trap, because you don't even see it coming. A lot of salespeople confuse activity with achievement. They're very busy and they're working on a lot of things, but they're not getting any closer to their goal. This is about majoring in the minors. It's a common thing. I fall into the trap a lot. I've gotten better, but I still fall into the trap I think most human beings do. You have to pay attention to how you're spending your time, because majoring in the minors is not going to get you any closer to your goal. It's really easy to feel productive when you're busy. The two just kind of go hand in hand. But you have to be cautious, because being busy does not equate to results. Never confuse activity with achievement. It's really a huge trap, and we are all prone to falling into it. Now let's talk about the signs that you're in the trap. This will be fun. The first thing is, you know you're in the activity trap, the busyness trap, when you're complaining about how busy you are. And sales leaders, please pay special attention here. If you have a salesperson on your team who's always complaining how busy they are smack dab in the middle of the activity trap, and it's your job to help them out. And the first step is to recognize that you're in it. Another sign that you're in the activity trap is you use it as an excuse for not getting the most important things done. Again, note to the sales leaders, if your salespeople have excuses as to why they didn't get something done, they are smack in the middle of the activity trap. Other signs that you're in the trap: you're always tired all the time. You don't sleep well. You can't seem to turn off the wheels in your mind when you lay down to go to sleep at night. Look at it this way. If you're answering 50 emails, you're pretty busy and it feels productive, but it doesn't get you any closer to your sales goal. I have a great quote from Tim Ferriss, and if you've never read The 4-Hour Workweek, I highly suggest you read it. It's a little bit goofy in places, but for the most part, it's a great lesson on how to make the most of your time, how to get the greatest return on your invested time, how to become really, really valuable to your company and to your clients. So here's the quote: "Slow down and remember this. Most things make no difference. Being busy is a form of laziness." Let me rewind that. Being busy is a form of laziness, lazy thinking, and indiscriminate action. Being overwhelmed is just as unproductive as doing nothing, and far more painful. Now let's talk about how to get out of the trap, because that's why I made this video, to help you get out of the trap. First step is to recognize that you're in it. Next is getting out of it. So let's walk through a few things here. First of all, I want to introduce you to one of my favorite sayings among the special forces in the military, and it goes like this: "Slow is smooth and smooth is fast. You actually can speed things up by slowing down. I know this is counterintuitive. It doesn't make any logical sense, but bear with me. It's the absolute truth. You have to slow down if you want to speed up. And that includes working on one thing at a time. You know, I used to pride myself on my ability to multitask. I don't feel that way anymore. I see multitasking as a serious detriment to me getting a lot of things done. I like to work on one thing at a time and slow down and do a really good job. At the end of the day, I find I get a lot more done. Slow is smooth and smooth is fast. Here's another really, really big tip for getting out of this trap. Learn to recognize the difference between pleasing and serving. So pleasing is very driven by the need to be liked. It's driven by the need to have people's approval. And salespeople are particularly susceptible to this. Serving, on the other hand, is quite selfless. The focus is on the customer. The focus is on what you can do for others. The focus is on providing value to the business relationship. So here's some examples of this. Saying yes too quickly. Saying yes to please someone. Taking on more work than you actually have time to do because you want to please people. I am one of those people. In fact, most salespeople fall into this category. One of the things that makes great salespeople great is they're really good at pleasing their customers. But it's a double-edged sword because it can really get you into trouble. It can chew up a lot of your time unnecessarily. So I want you to think about this idea of pleasing versus serving. Another idea to get out of the activity trap is to understand the 80-20 rule and accept that it's real. It's absolutely true. It's not just a clever marketing theory that works in some cases, but not all. It works every time. I mean, consider this. 80% of the world's automobile traffic is on 20% of the roads. The idea that 20% of something gives you 80% of something else is absolutely true. So don't disrespect the 80-20 rule, also known as the Pareto principle, is really the key to getting more done in less time. Another aspect of getting out of the activity trap is planning. I like to use this saying, make the calendar your boss. Make your calendar your boss. Segment your calendar into blocks of time, little activity blocks. Now, this will take some practice, but man, is it powerful once you get the hang of it. If there's something important that needs to be done, you put it on your calendar, and then you hold yourself accountable to spend that time, whether it's 30 minutes or 1 hour. I kind of like 30-minute increments. That tends to be a little more digestible. Most tasks can be done in 30 minutes. If it takes an hour, then put an hour. But make your calendar your boss. Plan out your day and your week in advance. Here's another thing you can do, which is to audit your time. For 1 week, just make some cryptic notes about how you spend each hour of the day, and then go back and look at it. I think you will find that a lot of your time is being sucked up by low value, low productivity stuff. So auditing your time is a powerful thing. What you really want to create here is a system that works for you. So whatever tools you use to keep yourself on track, to-do lists, your calendar, reminders, all of these things are great. But I want you to systematize it and then stick with your system. And probably the biggest thing I can tell you about how to get out of the trap is you must practice, and this does take practice. You must practice learning to say no. One of the ways you could practice learning to say no is to be slower to respond, slower to reply to other people's requests. Let me put it this way. Work tends to flow to the people who get things done. So if you find people calling you a lot, it's because they see you as someone who gets things done. I want to invite you to slow down, take a little bit longer to respond to some of those requests. I rarely answer the phone when it's ringing. I prefer to go to voicemail. Then it allows me to listen to who's calling and what they need. And it gives me a minute to process whether or not I'm going to do it or when I'm going to do it. Buying myself that little extra space is incredibly powerful. But learning to say no is a powerful skill. You're just one person and there's only so many hours in the day. You can't do everything. Salespeople are, like I said earlier, particularly susceptible to this. We don't like to say no to customers. We don't like to say no to distributors. The problem is that there's only so many hours in a day, so you must practice being more discriminating on how you use your time. Now, I want to leave you with some very practical tips that you can start using right away. The first tip is you get your hands on this book by Steve Chandler called Time Warrior. Unlike other time management books, this is about non-linear time management. It's a mindset thing. I know of no other book, and I've read lots of books on time management. I know of no other book that is as powerful and game-changing as The Time Warrior by Steve Chandler. If you can, get it on audio and listen to it when you're driving. Listen to it more than once. It's a fun, easy read. It's not heavy at all. I think you'll enjoy it. Steve narrates it himself. It's just a great book, but that's one practical thing you can start doing right away. Another practical tip is start small. Start small. Start with today. Start with this afternoon. Or if it's the end of the day, start with tomorrow. Start working on one day at a time planning and then progress from there. Now, my favorite increment of planning is a week. On Sunday nights, before I go to bed, so I can keep my mind clear, I like to spend just 20 or 30 minutes mapping out my week. I start putting my time blocks on the calendar, starting with the most important things, and I just get myself organized for the week. It makes a huge difference at the end of the week when you look back at how much you got done. So start small. Maybe choose one day for doing your planning. For me, that's Sunday nights. For you, it might be early Monday morning. Maybe you come into the office, or maybe you start work an extra half hour every Monday. Maybe Friday's better for you. You have to find what works best for you, but start small and start planning one day at a time and then shoot for a week at a time. Another great tip is you have to make a choice. You've got to choose what's going to not get done today. Every single day, there will be things from your to-do list that go undone, and you need to be a lot more deliberate about what things go undone. And my last tip is when it comes to time management and staying out of the activity trap and getting a lot done is you have to be ruthless. You have to be ruthless in the use of your time. You have to be ruthless with making your calendar your boss. You have to be ruthless on learning how to say no. And you have to be ruthless on the distinction between pleasing and serving. So I hope this video has been helpful to you. I want you to stay out of the activity trap so that you can get more done, sell more, crush every goal they give you, no matter how aggressive, make your full bonus, and just live a happier life. If you liked this video, give it a thumbs up. Feel free to share it with someone else in your organization who could really use this. And if you like our content, please subscribe because we put out videos like this all the time. Thanks for watching.